Now, you do have the Magic, who is the fans were screaming for Boston, man. We want Boston. We want Boston. Right? But do any of you guys see anything less than a sweep? Anything more than a sweep?
Sweeps are tough. I think because there's a lot. There's a level of concentration that it demands. And we've seen this Boston group in the playoffs before. I mean, they've let a game or two go in a series that they have command of. It's not unprecedented for them. If I had to bet money, gun to my head, I'm saying 5 games just because I think Boston gives away a game somewhere. But is the series close or competitive? No.
I was saying that maybe the Magic should make a play for Trae Young. I feel like the Magic should try for one of the young guys that may be out of there, as in Trae, maybe kick the tires on LaMelo, kick the tires on Ja. I think Ja's going to be out of there. And the Magic need somebody who can score. And they have enough defenders around them where somebody who's like Trae, who's a liability defensively, it's okay. But we need somebody to get buckets sometimes other than Paolo and Franz. Because if they're not getting buckets again.
Last night, Cole Anthony got some buckets.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
He legitimately had a fantastic game.
He did.
Credit to him.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you got Magic fans who want Trae, who want Melo. You know, as far as Trae, I'm down on small scoring guards. I just don't like them.
I'm down on all 3 guys you just mentioned. Like, I don't see them
I'm not as
the
down.
answer to anybody's problem.
I love Ja.
I think
don't
they,
anymore.
I think they help.
Why you don't love Ja? Because of the gun stuff?
No, just because he's an injury-prone
Small
small
guy.
guard.
Yeah.
He got
hurt last
his
night.
best basketball is behind him.
No,
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about that.
I'm quick to put people in the grave.
Josh far from in the grave.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Like, injury prone, but to what degree? Like, he's not
LaMelo's
as
more
injury prone than to not pull a plug on a trade if you get a good deal out of it. Like, I don't think that's that big of a red light to say, oh man, John's been hurt whatever. If you get a good deal out of it.
Well, of course. I mean,
and it's a need for the Magic.
Everything
Need somebody to get a bucket.
Everything is contingent on the deal. I mean, if you can acquire Ja or Trae Young for pennies on the dollar,
Trae Young is different. That's why I want to make sure I slide that line.
But I'm saying, like, if we're looking at it from a deal perspective, there are certain deals that have to be made. If you're gonna demand, so little, the deal would make sense at some point. I'm gonna make the deal. Even if it's just to make a deal to then make another deal with what I just acquired. Like, if it's deal making, I get it. But to me, I'm reading the question as, are any one of those 3 guys we just discussed the magic piece to get me to championship contention?
I think so.
And I think all 3
so.
of those guys are fatally flawed.
No.
I think so.
Yeah, I fully disagree.
I think because of everything around them. Like, all the flaws that those 3 guys have, the team around them can cover.
You're not winning with Trae Young, though. I want to make that clear.
No, I agree with that.
Of course, it's an opinion now, but I don't think you're winning with any high scoring guard at that. Like, Trey's going to come in. He's going to take just as many shots as Paulo, and probably more.
That was going to be my question too, though. Like, if Trae Young has had the green light in Atlanta his whole career.
Yeah.
So, like, if he comes to Orlando, or anywhere, if he gets traded, and now you have a wing that can score, or in Orlando you got Franz and you got Paulo, 2 guys can go for 30. Do you think that
last night combined,
right? But do you think Trae can, like, kind of step back and low key be like a Steve Nash role?
I do not.
A higher assist, less points.
He had a guard for what was that, for 2 to 3 years? Okay,
Murray.
Yeah, with Murray, and it didn't work at all because they had to share the ball. Trae needs to be in a full-time system where he can run the pick and roll with a dynamic big for like 80% of the game, and that's where he's most effective. And then he can spread the ball to the shooters as needed. That's Trae Young. That's the way he's.
Well, the sad reality, he's in his own optimal environment.
Yeah.
For what he is in Atlanta.
Yeah.
They don't have another great player. He doesn't easily fit with the profile of another great player, and he gets to play in Atlanta, and they're a fringe playoff team, and he puts up empty stats.
And they have really good defenders around him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Probably one of the best perimeter defender in the league.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again,
barrier thief.
you look at I jokingly mentioned like Franz and Paulo both had tough nights. They could not get going against Atlanta's defenders at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think he's in an optimal thing. So it doesn't make sense to move and expect him to accept some sort of different role. He's just not that guy.
That's plain and simple. He's not that. He's just not that guy.
He's kind of just a one-trick pony.
But one thing he is healthy versus the other two options.
Now,
John
this is
Morant
true.
And Melo.
This is true. Trey is always available.
Trey is always available. I will give him that. Right. I ain't just gonna totally dismiss him. Yeah. No. It's definitely is. But okay. So we have that dynamic. Now you do have the Magic, who is the fans were screaming for Boston, man. We want Boston, right? But do any of you guys see anything less than a sweep? Anything more than a sweep?
I'm not. I mean, I'm not here to. To me, sweeps are tough. Sweeps are tough. I think because there's a lot. There's a level of concentration that it demands, and we've seen this Boston group in the playoffs before. I mean, they've let a game or two go in a series that they have command of. It's not unprecedented for them. If I had to bet money, gun to my head, I'm saying 5 games just because I think Boston gives away a game somewhere. But is the series close or competitive? No, it's not. Boston controls this series, but I do think the likelihood that they drop one game over the course of this thing is high. So I'm gentleman sweep all day.
Tony, hear me out on this. Pink is totally against this. You're a Magic fan, right?
No.
Wait,
I'm a Lakers fan.
You're a Lakers
fan.
I'm
a root for the Magic.
Okay. We get into the Lakers, of course, right?
Okay.
The Magic, if they would have lost the first game, which is a gamble, I understand that, Pink, but you lose the first game.
I see where this goes.
Dominate the second game so you can get a better matchup and get the A seed and go against Cleveland. The Magic has a much better shot against Cleveland. One, that's sort of like a young rivalry that's going on.
It's happening.
It's happening, okay? They match up well with them. They had a much better chance against the Cavs, okay? Should they have done that? Because you have no chance against Boston. So what's the point? I mean, just to confirm you're in, what is the point?
Well, I'm going to hit you with some stats.
Okay.
Magic are 6-4 against the Celtics the last 10 games.
Okay.
Second best in the league.
Okay.
I forgot who was first. So
OKC.
I think it's OKC.
Yeah.
So you actually match up pretty well. Better than anybody in the East.
Better than I would have guessed and expected. Okay.
Also, what do the Celtics do? They spray. They try and shoot 50 threes a night.
And Orlando Magic is number 1 against guarding the 3.
Against the 3.
Got you.
So you probably match up against the Celtics better than Cleveland. And, I mean, you're going to lose to Cleveland. You're going to lose to Cleveland anyway. I feel like
you took him to 7 last year. You took him to 7 last year. You run it back this year.
I think this is a different Cleveland team. You know, I really think they have a different focus with them. I think Jalen Suggs being gone is a big deal for the Magic. That's really been the turning point of their whole season, Jalen Suggs being out. So I think you go in against you, and you don't want that gamble, like you said. You do not want to go, and let's say the Heat lose. I mean, let's say the Heat win tonight. You do not want to go in a one-game matchup against Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah.
You know, you probably going to fuck around and lose that too. Now it's lottery time.
And that's why I agree with this. It's you're doing all sorts of like gymnastics to get this matchup that you at the end of the day, they beat you in the playoffs. You have 7 games. And I don't think there's any question in the world. I mean, this Cleveland team has been far better, far more consistent night in and night out to do what they've done this year than they were last year. So they've gotten better, and they already beat you. And, you know, to again, put yourself in a position of essentially throwing a game against the Hawks and putting all your eggs in the basket of beating potentially like the Heat in a one-off game. Like, and if you lose it, you're not even in the damn playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, you need to make some progress as an organization. You can't, continue to go backwards.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And again, I'm just a huge believer psychologically in playoffs, tournaments, whatever. The team that bitches about their situation already defeats themselves.
No, that's for sure.
And that's that more than any other factor. That's why I wanted for the Magic take care of business last night like they did. Go into this Celtics series and get after it. And they do have kind of a quirky, successful record with the Celtics of late, although I think it was more last year that they had the Celtics number than this year.
Probably. And real quick, the way they won last night, like, confidence is a thing.
Yeah.
Like, they kicked the Hawks' ass.
Yeah.
So they're feeling good.
Yeah.
That's
they were in command throughout. It got a little bit close, but then they responded and played well down the stretch. They got nice contributions from Cole Anthony and some other people off the bench. Black played well. You didn't have a great Paolo night, a great Wagner night, and you still win comfortably. So just, do what you do and get after it.